So now that Vanguard Zombies is confirmed, and more than that, now that we know that Treyarch is going to be heading Vanguard Zombies, I think it's a good time to kind of go over what I personally believe to be the 5 most important things that Vanguard Zombies needs to do in order to become successful. Now, of course, I don't know everything, so you may not agree with anything or everything I say on this list, and that's what the comment section is made for, because I'd love to hear different ideas and features that you think that Vanguard Zombies needs, whether they be brand new ones that came up in your head, old ones returning, or removing some from Cold War. I'd love to hear those down in the comment section. But regardless, with all that said, I think it's about time we jump into this list.
Where is Maxis?
I'm here, still being held by Requiem. They don't want me in the field.
They do not trust you.
So the first thing is very obvious. I've been saying this since even before the launch of Cold War, but I just think a set crew, like a set playable crew, should return in Vanguard Zombies, because I mean, it was just such a mistake here in Cold War. I mean, playing as operators and not a set crew is just torture, and to me, I think it is the #1 reason why the Dark Aether storyline is being held back, because of that we are playing as operators and not a set crew. Like, I think the best example I give to really like put into perspective how dumb of a decision that this was for Cold War is just think of Mob of the Dead, one of the most iconic maps of all time. Now imagine Mob of the Dead without the Mob of the Dead crew. Like, no way. Like, that just takes off so much quality of that map. Like, I couldn't even imagine playing Mob of the Dead as operators. That would just be torture. So, yeah, I think that just that analogy alone is enough to understand why we need a set crew back inside Vanguard Zombies. Now, this isn't to say that you shouldn't be able to play as operators. Like, if you want to choose to play as an operator, that should be an option for you. I mean, World War II Zombies literally did this, so it shouldn't be that difficult. So I'm not saying that they should remove that option, especially if you bought a new skin that you want to, just show off and stuff. That's fine, but there's just so much bad about having the lack of a set crew. So yeah, Outbreak. I do think it should return, and I know this may be questionable to people because I know a lot of people don't like Outbreak and stuff like that. But the reason I think Outbreak should return is because of, I just think Outbreak gives an entirely new, I guess, option for how Treyarch can update their zombies mode post-launch, because the major problem with round-based maps is that it's hard to update them post-launch. Like, the map comes out, the Easter eggs there, like, you can't really like withhold the Easter egg or side Easter eggs or anything like that. That's just weird, right? So it's really hard to find ways to update the maps post-launch. I mean, the only successful thing they found to do this is progressively adding in, I guess, radios or intel and stuff like that, which is something I really do like, but like, that's pretty much about it. Whereas Outbreak, on the other hand, as we've seen just in Cold War alone, like, you compare the launch of Outbreak to today, like, the amount of updates completely changed that game mode, and because of that, I just think it is something that should continue into the future of zombies, because it just gives you more options to update a game post-launch. Now, one big caveat to this is that I do not think Outbreak should ever be a DLC again. Like, that was a mistake. Like, the fact that it was a DLC 2 in Cold War is just wrong, because especially, as I mentioned a while ago, like, the launch of Outbreak was very bare bones, and to call that a DLC 2 was not something we like. And I think that the best way to handle it instead is just to have it at launch, because it could be, kind of ish bare bones ish at launch, but it's not like, you know, too like bare bones because it is supposed to be the next iteration of it. But throughout the season, it could be updated in those in between times between the DLCs. Like for sure, the 4 DLCs and the 4 new brown base maps should be the main focuses through the season, but that in between time during the seasons or the season reloaded where we don't get a new map, I think that's where Outbreak comes in. The major updates to Outbreak should happen then, and I think it would give us a more consistent flow of content for the Zombies game mode. Now, this third one on this list is also Outbreak, but it's not going to be as long as the other one because, yeah, sure, I want Outbreak to return, but I don't want Outbreak as it currently is to return. And what I mean by that is that I just think Outbreak needs to take that next step. It needs that next evolution because I think that me and many other people that appreciate the Outbreak mode could ignore some of the problems, the glaring problems with the Outbreak mode. And the reason that is because this is the first time Treyarch has ever done anything like this. And because of that, I could overlook a lot of the problems. But if we're going to the second iteration of Outbreak, it's going to be harder to overlook those problems. And because of that, I just think that this next Outbreak version of it, or the next iteration of it, needs to take that next step. And this includes a lot of different things that I'm just not going to go over because I'm not a developer and I don't need to come up with every single little idea of how Outbreak needs to take the next step. But one of the major things that needs to happen is that the Outbreak maps need to be unique to zombies. They can't be reused spots from a scrapped, I guess, battle royale map. Like, it just can't be that again. It needs to be unique maps, and it needs to launch with all of these unique zombies maps. Like, if you want to reuse these zombies maps for something else in the future, that's fine, but they at least initially need to at least be unique to zombies. And as I mentioned, there's other things they need to do to make it, you know, just take that next step, but this is just one of the major ones, at least for me. So keeping on that idea of talking about maps, this fourth one is actually, I guess, kind of in that same idea. But instead of talking about, I guess, the Outbreak game mode, now I want to move my focus to the round-based maps. Because here in Cold War, every single map that isn't Die Maschine, so I guess Firebase Z and Mauer Toten, they were reused maps from the campaign, which I get, and they've always done this to an extent, but it's just not very cool to me. And personally, I just think Zombies was so much better in Black Ops 2, 3, and 4, but 4 kind of has that same energy. And the reason I say this is because none of those maps that I listed off there were reused from the campaign, except maybe Di-Res. I don't know, I'm not sure. But either way, most of them aren't just reused from campaign. And more than that, they're at very unique spots. I mean, just think of Black Ops 3 alone. Revelations is one of the craziest locations of a Zombies map ever. It just looks insane, and that wasn't pulled from campaign at all. And because of that, I just want to see more unique zombie map locations. That's all I want. I want them to have these fantastical areas. They don't have to be Garage Grovey and, as I mentioned, also Revelations level, but we just need it to back to a state of maybe the BO2 style, where it's not the craziest locations in the world, but at the same time, it just is unique and it's special to zombies, not just reuse stuff, which, again, I'm not entirely against the idea of reusing. Sometimes I know it's necessary, especially in game development, but sometimes I just want to have some uniqueness to my zombies maps. Now for number 5, or the final one on this list, and this is probably something that, you know, most people won't have on their list, but this is movement. And honestly, I probably wouldn't have put this on my list under normal circumstances, but by the fact that this game is being built on the IW engine 8, or if you guys know it as the Modern Warfare engine, of course, with updates and stuff like that, it does get me concerned because I think about the movement in Modern Warfare, and yeah, imagine using that in zombies. Like, that would be torture, dude. That would be so much torture. And you know, not having infinite sprint, having the slide cancel just to keep your sprint up. Oh my gosh, imagine having double sprint in zombies. That'd be torture. Oh my gosh. Like, there's just so much negative about that Modern Warfare movement that, of course, the engine doesn't make the movement, but by the fact alone that there is mention of that Modern Warfare engine just freaks me out in terms of movement, because personally, I think that Cold War Zombies has the best movement in the history of Call of Duty, even topping Black Ops 3 jump slide stuff, because the reason I like it more is because Stamina Up's in the game, and Stamina Up just makes it where it's so good in this game, especially that it just makes it feel like you don't need to jump slide like you did in Black Ops 3. I just prefer just to push forward on my thumbstick or whatever it's called, instead of having to click jump slide, jump slide, jump slide, right? So because of that, I am worried, and again, I wouldn't normally put it here, but I am slightly worried about the movement and how it's going to be in this. And this is something that maybe shouldn't be on this list, but it's something that is so important to a zombies game mode, in my opinion, that it just would be devastating if we don't have movement similar to Cold War. Like, and what I mean like that is like the mantling, the running, the sliding, and all that, because it just feels like to me that Cold War by light years has the best movement in the history of zombies. And if we have to take a step back in Vanguard, it's going to hurt my feelings a lot. But regardless, that's about it for this list. I love to hear again what you guys think about all the things I've mentioned, and also what are your ideas for features and things that you think should come to Vanguard Zombies. And there's definitely more things that I didn't say on this list. Like, I think that the no perk limit should return, and also I believe that we should get off the stupid numbers off the screen when you kill zombies, like just taking over your screen. I just think that the game shouldn't end after you do an Easter egg, and also just better music. And like, there's a lot of things that could have made this list that didn't, but well, it might be for a different day. I don't know, but either way, that's about it for me. If you guys did enjoy this video, definitely do all the normal YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, bell, share, and all that great stuff. But I'm going to go. I'll catch you guys next stream, video, or whenever that may be. And laters, guys.